Welcome to the Rise of the Trades podcast, the show dedicated to helping you to build, grow, and scale your trades or construction business. All rise for your host, Craig Wilkinson.
Welcome to this week's coaching episode of the Rise of the Trades podcast, where we help trades and construction business owners to skyrocket leads, explode net profits without having to graft 60 hours a week and becoming that busy fool. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to create your evergreen content strategy to generate more leads coming into your trades business. But before we go there, I'd just like to ask you a quick favour. And that is, if you're getting value from my podcast episodes, could I please ask you to hit the follow or the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to this on right now? Because everybody that follows the podcast is going to help the algorithm to push our episodes out to more tradesmen and women that need our help and support. So if you could smash the like, subscribe or follow button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now let's transition over to this week's coaching episode. We all know that if we want to build, grow and scale our trades business, we've got to start generating more profitable, vetted leads coming in. And what I see a lot of is everybody doing the same type of bog standard marketing strategies. And this is what we call our attract strategy. In other words, we're all creating the same type of content, putting it out there to attract our target market to our business. But because we're all doing the same type of marketing, we don't seem to be standing out. We don't seem to become different to anyone else. We're not building authority. We're not building credibility. We're not building that point where we are dominating our market and displaying that to our customers, because we're all doing the same type of crappy marketing tactics. So everybody's using social media, but everybody's using social media the same way. We're banging random content out at random times to a random target market, and we're hoping and praying that some of that social media activity is going to generate us leads. Many people have tried paid advertising, whether that's on things like Google or Facebook. Everybody's running the same types of ads. Everybody's running the same types of message. It's just like a lottery. And come on, with paid ads, we can't afford to get that wrong, because that's the quickest way to burn money. There are people out there using email marketing, where they're sending blanket email broadcasts out with special offers, or we've got this going off, or we've got a new employee that's joined our business. And it's just landing on deaf ears. There are people out there advertising on things like print, magazines, leaflets, going to exhibitions and having all big exhibition stands printed up. But again, a lot of that's not working in today's day and age. Video marketing's exploded over years, hasn't it? And now every day you go onto Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and there's tradesmen all doing the same types of videos. Are you with me? Then you've got directories like Checker Trade, Which Trusted Trader, that everybody's having a pop on. Are you with me? And because everybody's doing this same type of marketing, your marketing is getting lost in the vast noise of the ether. In other words, everybody's whacking things on social media and expecting people to stop the scroll and take notice of their business over the other 25 businesses and the ads on Facebook that they've just seen. So what makes you different? What makes you stand out? How can you dominate your market? By creating a different type of content that nobody else is creating. And in this episode, we're going to be exploring that, because that's what I call the Evergreen Content Strategy. And this is a strategy that we've been using now for over a decade, but not many people are doing it. So I want to share with you the exact steps and strategies that I teach my Growth Club and Inner Circle members when it comes to creating a evergreen content strategy that makes them different, that makes them stand out, and actually, with respect, makes their competitors look amateurish. So grab your notepads, grab your pens and tablets, make some notes, and let's get stuck in and start creating your evergreen content strategy. Now, to start off with, we have to understand that there are two types of people or two skill sets or two traits that you have got to have in today's day and age before you can even become the tradesperson that you are. So in other words, before you can even get the tools out of the van, there are two people that you now need to become. The first person is what I call a content creator, which is, for some people who are into creating content and are getting results from it, you'll understand where I'm going with this. But for a lot of people, it's like, what do you mean, Craig, I've got to become a content creator? Well, it's very simple. In today's day and age, if you are not creating the right types of content that's going to punch your target market on the end of the nose and get them to take notice of you in this noisy world that we live in of marketing, then you're never going to generate more leads than you're currently doing, because the way in which you're currently generating leads is great, but that's never going to scale your business. If you want to scale it and grow it, you need more leads. And to get more leads, guess what? You've got to create more content. So therefore, you've got to become a content creator. And this is a big mindset shift for some people to have. Because right now, many people are thinking, well, I'm just a tradesman, I'm self-employed, I've got a business, I'm director of a limited company, I'm doing okay. That's great, but you've got to be creating more content and more of the right content. So if we're not creating that, we're not going to generate any more leads, are we? So number one, you've got to become a content creator before you can get the tools out of the van. Because if we're not creating the right content, we're not going to generate any leads. And the second person that you need to become is a salesperson. And I know what it's like. Nobody wants to be labelled as a salesman or a saleswoman because it's pushy, it's sleazy, it's pressurised environment. You've had that happen to you and it's left a negative impact on you. So you don't want to do the same to other people. And I'm not saying be pushy. I'm not saying be sleazy or use undermine tactics. What I'm saying is, do you not think as a business owner, you should learn some sales techniques and some sales skills that's going to help you convert that customer into a paying customer? Are you with me? And if we don't learn little techniques and sales skills and how we can improve our sales process, we're going to continue to just use the same patter and the same pitch that you've got used to using all the time. And the law of attraction says that you're going to convert X amount of surveys or X amount of jobs that you price into paying customers. But for many of you, you don't need more leads. You just need to convert more of the leads that you're getting in. And the reason why you're not converting them is you've had no sales training. I mean, come on, what's the point of you investing into your mindset, investing into your marketing, investing into putting systems in place like Leadzilla or ServiceMate, investing into building a team for you to go and cock it up by what you're doing or not saying and doing when it comes to sales? Are you with me? It's the final hurdle. The sale is the final hurdle. Why do all the hard work before that and then go and mess it up because you don't know what to say and when to say it from a sales point of view? Do you get me? So the two people that you need to have a mindset shift in becoming in today's modern day and age of being in business is, number one, you've got to be creating the right content. And I'm not on about banging the same types of content out as everybody else, because that's not going to make you different. That's not going to differentiate yourself. That's certainly not going to build authority, is it? And secondly, when the leads come in, How can we increase our conversion rate by implementing a new sales process and some new sales techniques to convert that customer into a buying paid customer? That's what you've got to do. So yes, we've got the traditional attract strategy that we've just spoken about in that previous chapter, where everybody's doing the same type of marketing, but that is not going to get you noticed. That is not going to make you stand out for the right reasons and dominate in your local area. What's going to help you do that is creating evergreen content that hardly anybody's doing, but it's the piece of content that's going to help you dominate with more work and with respect, show your competitors as amateurs, which means enhancing your authority and credibility with your market. Now, just going back to the attract strategy, there's actually 20 different ways that you need to be marketing your business to generate yourself more leads. And I'm guessing your attract strategy now will comprise of maybe 5 or 6 of the 20 ways that I teach my Growth Club and Inner Circle members. So if you want to know what all 20 different ways of marketing your business need to be, to create the ultimate attract strategy, go and check out episode number 98. Because in 98, I share with you the 20 ways that you've got to bolt on the different ways of marketing your business that's proven and guaranteed to work for a trades or construction business. So at the end of this episode, go and check out episode number 98. Now, getting back to evergreen content and creating this strategy. When I explain this to our members, they'll most of the time, not all, but most and the majority of people say, Craig, what do you mean by evergreen content? I've heard of it, I just don't understand it. So let me explain it very simply. Evergreen content is a piece of content that you create once, but you can use it over and over again to help sell the products and services that you offer forever. In other words, we're going to create a strategic piece of content that you know that your customers or your clients are constantly asking questions around. You're going to create that piece of content, and then you can share that content every single day if need be to people that are asking a specific question. So think about it. Instead of creating content every single day that's the same type of content as everybody else is putting out there and therefore not getting recognized for being different, this content is content that solves your customers or your clients' problems or pain or questions or FAQs on the type of things that they ask you on a regular basis. And throughout this episode, I'm going to be giving you some examples of how this works. And I'm also going to be giving you examples of how I'm using it with you guys that are listening to this, my target market. I'm going to be demonstrating how I'm using this too. So that's what we mean. It's content. We're going to create it once, but we can use it forever. Example, my podcast episodes. Every single one of these episodes that I record, I don't just come up with random topics every week. I'm looking in our Facebook group. I'm looking in our Growth Club. I'm listening to my Inner Circle members. I'm listening to what tradesmen and women have got challenges with. Hence the reason why this is about Evergreen Content Strategy, because I know that people struggle with generating leads. Therefore, I'm creating content like this podcast that I can use over and over and over again. Whether you're listening to this at the time I'm releasing it, or whether you're listening to this episode in 18 months' time, I've created a piece of content that I can reuse and repurpose over and over and over again, whether that be now or in years to come. Because I'm creating content that I know helps my target market. It helps you to answer the questions that you've got, helps you to understand how to generate more leads, helps you to make more profit, save more time, build your team, scale your business. That's the whole point of this podcast, isn't it? Every episode that I create, it's evergreen content. So if somebody ever said to me in 18 months' time, Craig, how do I create evergreen content then? Now I've created this podcast episode, I can just keep sharing this link to this podcast episode forevermore. Why? Because I'm creating evergreen content. Are you with me? Think about it. There's other so-called trades coaches out there that have sprung up over the last couple of years, and they're all putting the same type of content out as everybody else. But I don't do that. How many other trades, business and marketing coaches out there have committed to a dedicated podcast, built their own website, released, this is episode 115, that's 115 weeks on the bounce, where I've took 8, 9, 10 hours to record this podcast, where my team take another day to get the production right of this podcast, where I'm giving all my knowledge and values and secrets to building and growing businesses away for free. How many other people are doing that? Answer, there isn't. Because they're doing the same type of crappy marketing, offering the same type of crappy memberships and crappy coaching programs, where I'm not. I'm doing things completely different. I'm creating evergreen content where every single one of these 115 episodes from this point on, I could share every week. And we do. Every week I've got people saying to me, Craig, how do I make more profit? Right, go and listen to these 5 episodes. Oh, really? Yeah. What, for free? Yeah. Oh, Craig, I need to generate more leads. Right, go and listen to these 15 episodes. Oh, Craig, I need to know how to systemize and automate my business. Right, go and listen to these 3 episodes. Do you get where I'm going with this? So where's your evergreen content? What's the content that you're strategically creating as a content creator to help you build a relationship, build rapport, outdo your competitors because they're not doing this, and show yourself as an authority in your industry? And the answer to that is usually, Craig, I'm not. I'm doing the attract strategy, but I'm not doing the evergreen content strategy. Well, all that changes right now. So now we understand what an evergreen content strategy is. The next thing is, Craig, where can we use the content that we create? Where do we put it? Where can we add it? Well, listen, you can share it literally anywhere you want to share it, right? But let me give you a quick example of this. Have you ever been in a Facebook group where somebody's put into maybe a local community group? Can anybody recommend an electrician? Can anybody recommend a good plumber or a joiner or a builder or a scaffolder or a plasterer or a renderer or a tiler? Are you with me? You see it all the time, don't you? Can anybody recommend blah, 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 right? And then what happens? In the comments of that post, it's like a big pitch fest. Whether that's one of your customers tagging you in and saying, oh, we've used so-and-so and they were great, and they tag you in. Or you get other trades, don't you, throwing their 2 pence in and saying things like this. Oh, Fred, I can help with that. Give me a bell on mobile number. Or Fred, visit my website. Or I can help you that with sweetheart or love or darling. I can call on way home from work tonight. Give me your address. And you get all these like one-liners and all this spammy stuff going in. And then they'll tag their own Facebook business page in. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's just like a pitch fest where you're all desperate and you're all trying to win the work, but you've not become a content creator, and you've certainly not become a salesperson in just saying, here's my website, here's my Facebook page, here's my mobile number, Fred, you ring me. I can call on my way home tonight and all this nonsense. And that's what happens. And I'm like, what are you doing? If you'd have only created a piece of evergreen content that you could have shared incredibly professionally inside that comment, where you then make all these other companies that are saying, visit my website, give me a bell on my mobile number, love, visit my Facebook group, all that. If you'd have only created one piece of content that you could have shared in that group with a really professional written post, not only is that customer going to look at that piece of content and look at your post and think, wow, these are professional, because look at what they've just shared with me. They give me something of value for free without expecting anything in return. They've not just tagged their Facebook group in. They've taken the time to write a post and tell me a little bit about their business and their authority. And not only does that look amazing to your customers, but it also looks incredible for anybody else that's been tagging tradesmen in. But also when your competitors who have been tagging themselves in see your incredibly written professional post and they click that link to the video that you've created, or they've clicked that link to the downloadable guide that you've created, or they click that link to the ebook that you've created, or they click that link to the podcast you've recorded. Are you with me? And then they get the knowledge that way. You're just making everybody else look like amateurs. And this is what's going to help you win the business. So you've got to start creating content that you know people are asking for or searching for or have got problems with, that you can solve by creating a piece of content once. Could be a blog article, could be a page on your website that you could send people back to get that information. Then all of a sudden, you can use that content over and over and again, make yourself look incredibly professional and blow everybody else out at water by making them look an amateur. Do you get what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter what service you offer. There's always people asking, let's say on social media, do you know a what? I get it all the time. I'm in certain groups trades groups where people say, I could do a mentor or a coach. Does anybody recommend a trades type of coach? And the trades coaches that are out there, they'll get tagged in and they'll do exactly the same as what I'm just sharing. Or go and visit my website, or they'll try and sell something. Oh, I've got a course here, go and sign up. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be coaches. You're supposed to be coaching these people on how to generate more leads. So all I do when I get tagged in, I wait until everybody's booked their own pitch in, which is cheap and nasty. And then I'll go in. And somebody might be saying, I need to generate more leads. Can anybody recommend a coach that can help me generate more leads? And when everybody's sending people back to a landing page or back to a website, I'll be like this. Well, I've got 37 podcast episodes here on every different area of how you can generate leads coming into your business. Here are 5 videos. Here are 3 ebooks. Here are 3 guides. Here are 16 blog articles I've written. Now, obviously, I'm not going to send all that lot because it'd be overwhelming. But the point I'm making is I can say, listen to this podcast, watch this video and download this guide. My name's Craig Wilkinson. I'm a carpenter and joiner that's built, grown, sold a hugely successful construction company. Since 2012, I've stood on over 500 stages. I've coached 30,000 tradesmen and women. I've been voted Yorkshire's Businessman of the Year. I'm on Fixed Radio as their marketing and business coach. I've got the UK's #1 downloaded podcast for trades and construction business owners. Here's the links. Look at the credibility that I've now got on that post. And when everybody else has seen that, I'm just blowing everybody else out of the water. Why? Because 1, I've created the right content evergreen content that I can share over and over and over again because I understand I've got to become a content creator. And number two, I'm helping the sales process by building a relationship. I'm building a rapport. I'm building authority. I'm building trust. I'm building credibility. And I'm giving value and knowledge away for free. And I'm not even trying to sell anything. Do you get what I'm saying? It's the exact same for you and your business. So what I want you to stop doing is utilizing your time to create the same type of content that everybody else is doing. What I want you to do is I want you to put into your default diaries some time to start dedicating to creating evergreen content. Content that you know your customers or your clients are thinking or asking for or need the questions to or need answers to that you can create once like I do, and then anytime anybody's asking that question or they want advice, you can send them a link to your video. You can send them a link to your guide. You can send them a link to your ebook. You can send them a link to your blog article that's on your website. You can send them a link to your podcast or whatever content you're going to create to get the evergreen side of it over to your customers. So now we've covered what is an evergreen content strategy. We've now shared where we can use it and how we're going to use it. But in the next chapter, I want to walk you through the type of content and give you some pointers on what I believe you need to start creating so that you've got this content to share anytime anybody's asking them questions or needs that information. Now, one of the common questions I get asked when people start to understand how this strategy unfolds is, I'm getting it, Craig, but what types of content would you recommend that we start to create? And in all honesty, there is loads that you can create. When you start to think about it, and I break this down for you, there's so many different topics that you could talk about, write about, record about. There's loads. But to make it simple for you, these are the 5 different types of evergreen content that I want you to start to create. So I'm going to give you all 5 now. I want you to write these down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each one of these 5 into a little bit more context for you so you fully understand where I'm going with this. So in no particular order, right? But let me give you 5. Number 1 is content that is going to solve a problem and a solution to the problem that your customers or clients have got. So problem-solving content. Number 2, process content. In other words, the process that you take your customers through. Number 3, pricing content. So we're going to create some evergreen content around the pricing side, which I'll come on to. Number 4, building your authority and social proof content. And number 5, mistakes to avoid content, right? So they're the 5 different types that I want you to start to maybe focus on now. It's up to you which one you start on. But to give you a bit more information about each one, let's now break each one of these down so you can become clear on what it is I'm asking you to do. So let's start with problem-solution content that you can start to create. And what I mean by this is, number 1, your customers have got pain points, haven't they? Right? Remember, the reason why people come to a trades business is not that they want to buy what you've got. Nobody wants to buy an extension. Nobody wants to buy an EV charging point. Nobody wants to buy a house being re-rendered. Nobody wants to buy a new roof. What they're coming to you for is they've got a problem and they want it solving. So they're buying the solution to the pain point that they've got. So what I'd encourage you to do is write down all of the pain or all of the problems that you know your target market have got. So for example, if you're a builder and a joiner like I am and was before I sold my business, I know that my customers' pain points were always, they got a growing family, they were running out of space, they loved where they lived, they didn't want to move, they wanted to expand the living space. So we created loads of evergreen content around that problem, that situation. Think of, I don't know, a heating engineer, right? You must have people coming to you all the time where the boiler's drop pressure, as an example, or they've got a fault code on the front of the boiler. Right, so why can't you do a video showing them how to top up the pressure on the boiler? Or if you've got this particular boiler manufacturer, Worcester Bosch, Ideal, whatever, and you get this fault code, it means this. Are you with me? You could create a blog article around that. You could create a video around how to top your pressure up. So if somebody is in a WhatsApp group and they go, I've got a problem with my boiler, I think it's drop pressure, when everybody else is pitching, oh, I'll come and sort that out for you, I'll call on my way home. Listen, you could just share that video, couldn't you, and say, listen, if it's probably drop pressure, this is the reason why. All you need to do is top it up by doing this. Yes, you might say, well, hang on a minute, Craig, I'm going to do myself out of a bit of business here. It's like, yeah, but do you really want to travel to the other side of your town or city to top somebody's pressure up on the boiler? Do you not think that if you showed them how to do it for free, number one, you're coming across as being really authentic and really helpful and supportive? It's going to show everybody else up for wanting to pitch for that job. And do you not think that if you did that, that customer who topped the pressure upon their own boiler, next time they need a service or next time they need any more plumbing or heating work doing, who are they going to come to for that new boiler? You. Are you with me? So problems, give them solutions to the problems that they've got. Create a piece of content, right, around common issues that your customers face. Why problems happen in the first place. Like the example I've just given you. Your boiler's drop pressure. This is the reason why. But if you want to top it up yourself, this is what you need to do. Create the video, put it on a page on your website. Therefore, every time somebody has that problem, you send that URL link back to your video that's held on your website. Now they're finding out more information about the other products and services you offer because you've driven them back to your ultimate sales team, which is your website. And by creating problem/solution content, this positions you as the expert because you're talking about the problem, but you're sharing with them how to solve the problem, which makes you an expert. The second piece of evergreen content you need to consider is what we call process content. And what I mean by process content is the process that you're going to take your customers through, the journey that you're taking them on from start to finish, from that inquiry coming in all the way through to that 5-star review being left or that video testimonial at the end of the job. How do you work? What's the process that you take people through? In other words, what happens when a quote's accepted? Why haven't you got a video that walks the customer through the process and says, right, once you accept the quote, this is what happens next. These are our payment terms. This is the project timelines. If you start sharing, creating evergreen content about the process that you walk through, anytime somebody says to you, well, what happens next? You know, what's the process? How does it work? What do we do next? You can say, oh, Mr. Jones, great question. Do you know what? I've got a video that explains our entire process and lays it out for you so you can see step by step what it's like working with us, a professional company that keeps you in communication at all points. Are you with me? So creating content around the process that you go through. You've got it once. You know that you're going to get asked this many times. You know, what happens next? How do we deal with you? You know, what do we do once we've paid us deposit? You create that one piece of content and you can share it and use it forever. Evergreen content number 3 would be pricing content. So anything to do with your pricing or questions that customers ask, whether that's before you've given them a price, during the point where you're giving them a price, or after you've given them the price. Because come on, there's so many people out there that want an idea of budget and price and how much things are going to cost before they even start working with you, right? So you could create, let's say, a video that sits on your website that talks about how much does each one of your services cost? And it could be something like let's go back to a boiler situation. It could be boiler services, boiler care plans, boiler repairs, boiler installations, power flushers, as an example. It could be, you could be an electrician. It could be, how much does it cost to fit a EV charging point? How much is it for a rewire? How much is it for a consumer unit change? Are you with me? There's certain services that you offer that you could create content around on things like how much does it cost? Or what affects pricing? Why quotes vary from different companies? Why we take deposits? Why we do this when it comes to pricing? Because if you're open and you're transparent with how you work and you can share a video on how much do things cost and why prices vary. I mean, take it back to that Facebook group. You know for a fact that there are going to be people in that group who are going to be asking for a joiner, right? But there are people in that group that just want a cheap job doing. They want it doing yesterday. They are time wasters and tire kickers. And therefore, you don't want to work with people like that. But then there might be somebody else that's legitimately asking that might have a really good project for a joiner or whatever trade you are. And they're prepared to pay for good quality and service. And they're prepared to wait for you because you booked up 3 months in advance. Are you with me? By creating content like that talks about why prices vary and why costs vary, and therefore you could do a video that talks about the cheap end of the market, but the problems by getting a cheap job done by semi-skilled tradesmen that'll do the job tomorrow, the problems that you're going to encounter are going to be this. But how we price jobs and how we work with you is we don't do that. We only use top quality materials from reputable merchants or wholesalers. We only use the highest skilled tradesmen and women to come and do the job. We keep you updated at all stages. The communication between us and you is done through Leadzilla or ServiceMate, and you get notified every single time. So if you can start to differentiate the cheap end of the market and the problems that you're going to encounter by going for the cheap end, but then explain why you're different and why you are superior and professional and you've got that authority and credibility. But in order to get that, yeah, we might charge a little bit more than everybody else, but this is why we can give you a guarantee on our workmanship. This is why all of our materials are guaranteed by the wholesaler or the... Are you with me? If you've got something like that, then guess what? It filters out time wasters instantly. If people are wanting a cheap job doing and they watch your video and it's like, oh, they don't do cheap jobs, I want a cheap job doing, they're not going to waste your time, are they? But at the same time, somebody watching that video that's been posted into LinkedIn might go, flipping heck, these sound exactly what I've been looking for. Professional, reliable, trustworthy, open and transparent with the pricing structure, open and transparent with how they work, I'd want to work with them, wouldn't you? So you create this piece of content once, and guess what? You use it forever. Evergreen content number 4 is what we call authority or social proof content. And what I mean by this is content that you're going to create that builds your authority, builds your credibility based on things such as case studies or testimonials or reviews or before and after case studies of projects or jobs that you've done in the past. Because let's face it, there's nothing more powerful and there's nothing better to help sell your products and services than a third party, an independent person that you've worked with telling the world how amazing, clean, tidy, on time, on budget, and how they recommend you and your services to anybody, right? This is all the social proof that we need. So why can't you create some content that's all around? This is a job that we've done before. This is the problem the customer had. This is why they brought us in. This is what we did to solve the customer's problem. And this is the benefits and what they've ended up with at the end of the job. That could be then wrapped into a case study that could be all written out on your website with images, maybe a photograph of you and your customer shaking hands at the end of the job to build that authority and that trust and that credibility. Could be taken to another level where we can have video testimonials of your customers telling the world how amazing you were, walking you round the project and them explaining what you've done for them and how you've solved the problem. Reviews, we know how important reviews are. Why can't you get a review strategy in place and start to get more reviews and become the number 1 top rated tradesperson in your area, right? And once you've got the before and after and the case studies and the video testimonials and the reviews, you create all that content once, and then it sits on your website, it sits on your landing pages, it sits on YouTube. You can share all them videos, reviews, testimonials, case studies across all social media platforms. Are you with me? Remember what I said at the beginning? You've got to become a salesperson as well as a content creator. But by you getting video testimonials and reviews and case studies from your happy customers, you turn them into a sales team so you don't have to sell it for yourself. They're selling it for you. It's all helping get that conversion rate up and turn that quote into a paying customer. So where's all that authority and social proof content? Because remember, when you've got that video testimonial and you've got it once, you can share that for years to come. And evergreen content number 5 is what I call mistakes to avoid content. If you can start to create content that talks about the mistakes that your customers generally make that end up with the choosing the wrong contractor or going with the cheapest quote or poor planning on your customer's behalf. And what about this one? I'm sure you must have had customers at some point in the past that have said, I tell you what if I supply my own materials? Can we get the cost down? Because I can get materials cheaper from this dodgy website online. Can I supply my own materials and you'll just give me a price for labour? It's like, no. So what are the mistakes that you see your customers making? Because if you can highlight these mistakes to them up front, and then they are watching your video, reading your ebook, downloading your guide that explains all this, they're going to go, oh yeah, never thought of that. Who is this company? They're brilliant. They're giving all this knowledge away to help me not make the same mistakes that other people have made. These are really good. And all this lot starts to attract better customers. So why can't you do some content on choosing the wrong contractor? Or the mistakes people make when choosing the cheapest quote? Or why customers shouldn't supply their own materials? Because you can't guarantee the job. If they've supplied their own materials, you can't guarantee the job because they've brought their own materials in. Are you with me? So if you start creating this mistakes type of content, I'm telling you now, you're going to start to attract better customers. So why can't you have a guide on the top 10 mistakes people make when choosing a boiler? The top 10 mistakes customers make when choosing a kitchen? The top 5 mistakes people make when choosing a bathroom? All this lot, you could create one blog article, one video, one guide that's sat on your website. And therefore, you can share that link anywhere that when they click it, it takes them back to your website to consume that evergreen content. But bingo, you've got them back to your website. Are you with me? So all this type of content you can start to create. And I'm telling you now, your competitors aren't doing this because they don't know about it. And if we start to create this content in a different way that we can use over and over again, we're going to leverage our time, but at the same time, build our authority and our credibility. And just write this down. I have a little, let's say, 6-step formula that I call the Evergreen Content Formula. And every time we are don't get me wrong, we create content, attract strategy content. So when I said earlier, go and listen to episode number 98, which is the 20 ways to generate more leads, that's your attract strategy. Don't get me wrong, we've got an attract strategy. We still use an attract strategy every day. But what we also do on top of that is create this evergreen content strategy, like this podcast. All right. So the 6 steps to this and what goes through mine and my team's head when we're creating this content is, number 1, what questions, what problems, what pain, what mistakes, everything I've just covered now, what are those for our target market, which is you guys, trades and construction business owners? And we'll make a list of all of those problems, challenges, pain points, concerns that you've got. We make a list of that. Or we'll see it popping up in a forum or a Facebook group or in our growth club or our Facebook group, where all of a sudden over a course of a month, the same types of questions get asked by our members. Right, we make a note of it. So step number 1, I want you to think about what are the questions or the pain that you can solve and make a list. Number 2, what we'll then do is we'll go and create that content in various different forms, from a social media post to a blog, to a vlog, to a video, to a podcast, to a guide, to an ebook. Are you with me? You've got lots of options on how you can create that content. Step number 3, once we've created it, we store it, right? In other words, we keep it in a safe place. This could be a Google Drive folder, Dropbox, OneDrive. You know, my podcast sits on things like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube. But we don't just store it there. What have I done? I've built an entire website just for the podcast. So we can store all our podcast episodes on our own website. So when we're sharing our links to these podcast episodes, we don't share the link to Spotify or Apple. We share the podcast link to our own dedicated website where we stored every single episode today. All 115 episodes are on there. Why? Because on our own website, it's our branding, it's ours. Anybody can listen to it. You don't have to have Apple. If you're, let's say Apple Podcasts, if you're an Android user, what's the point in us in sending people back to Apple Podcasts? If you offer people listening have got Androids, we've built our own website. We store it. Are you with me? Step number 4. We always give an authoritative reply, or we create an authoritative post. So going back to the Facebook example I gave you, which is, I'm after a plumber. Can anybody in this community group recommend a plumber? And then all the plumbers get tagged in, end up going, I'll give you a bell, ring me on this number, visit my website, visit my Facebook business page, all that nonsense. We don't do that. We'll go back and we'll put an authoritative reply. So like the example I gave you, I've built and grown a solder business, a trades business. I was the original trades business coach back in 2012, stood on over 500 stages, coached 30,000 business owners, won Yorkshire's Businessman of the Year. That is building a authority. So we put that into the post, or we'll put that onto the blog, and then we'll put the link for them to go and consume the evergreen content. So we're building the authority by giving an authoritative reply and not, oh, listen to my podcast episode, bang. Are you with me? Step number 5, we then share it. So every opportunity that we've got where we know somebody's asking a question or somebody's got a challenge, we can share the link with the authority reply back to that person. But remember, if it's social media posting on, it's not only that one person that sees it, it's everybody that's already commented or is going to comment in the future on that thread. They will see your post, which means other people are going to click that link. Do you get me? When we share my podcast links, it's not only the person that's asked the question that's going to click the link, it's everybody else who's going to go, I need that I need that information, Craig, as well. So they'll click it. And step number 6 is reuse it. Reuse it time after time after time after time. Remember what I've said, evergreen content lasts forever. If you're going to create a piece of content today, the top 10 mistakes people make when choosing a roofer, them same top 10 mistakes, as an example, are going to be relevant in 5 years' time. So you create the content once, you reuse it and you repurpose it forever. So here are your action tasks that I'd love you to go away and implement based on what I've covered in this episode. Number 1, make sure you've written down those 5 different types of strategy that you can create, right? Just to reiterate them and just to go through them again. Number 1, I said it were problem solution content. Number 2, it were process content. Number 3 is pricing content. Number 4 is authority and social proof content. Number 5 are the mistakes to avoid content. So what I want you to do is write those down, and then I want you to pick one of those areas, just one, and then create the piece of content in that one area. Record it, shoot it, write it, get that content together. Then what I want you to do is I want you to share that piece of content across all your social media, write an email up, put the link into that content on your email, send it out to your email list, to your past customers, because it's valuable knowledge for them. Put it on your website, put it on your landing pages, get that piece of content everywhere and share it. And then remember, every time you spot somebody, see or hearing anything around that topic or subject that you've already got content for, you're going to share the link. But when you share the link, you're not just going to put the link, oh, listen, watch my video here, mate. You're not going to say that. You're going to build the authoritative reply. Then you're going to share the link. And not only is that person going to consume it, but everybody else, including your competitors, are going to consume it. And that's their benchmark. You are now dominating in your area. And by creating content like this and going back to what I shared at the beginning of this episode, the two types of people that you need to become. One, I said a content creator. So now you are, because you're creating specific content that's relevant to your target market and not just banging random rubbish out each day. So that's going to help you to generate more leads. But again, creating some of this evergreen content, particularly around the process that you take people through, is going to help you become a better salesperson. It's going to help the sales process. And the likelihood is it's going to help you improve your conversion rate. So you're going to win more of the jobs that you're currently pricing. Now, if you've been listening to my podcast for some time, or even if you're new to listening to my podcast, I want to say a massive thank you. And if you're getting value from these episodes and you want to take it to a whole new level, there's 3 ways in which we can help you do this within the Trades Freedom Club. The first is just come and simply join our free Trades Freedom Club Facebook group and community, where it's full of thousands of professional tradesmen and women that are networking, asking questions, getting help and support in a positive Facebook group. Because come on, you know what some of these Facebook groups can be like? It can be terrible, can't it? The bullying, the comments, the negativity inside these groups is awful. Listen, you don't get that with our culture. So come and join our Facebook group. The second way we can help you is to come and be a member of our Growth Club. And our Growth Club is a membership where you get, every week, you get access to live and pre-recorded coaching on every area of business, marketing, mindset, and personal development. When you join our Growth Club, you'll instantly get access to a private secret community. You'll get access to over 100 training videos and also our live weekly coaching events, such as tonight, I'm doing our live Q&A session with our members. Next week, we're doing a session all on video marketing. The week after that, we've got accountability sessions. We've got member drop-in sessions. We've got sessions on how to use Leadzilla and ServiceMate and systemize your business, etc. The third way is to apply to join my Inner Circle, which is a 12-month marketing and business coaching program where you get me personally as your marketing and business coach over a 12-month program where I guarantee to build, grow and scale your business by a bare minimum of 100%, and we'll easily do that over that course of that 12 months. The links to the Facebook group, the Growth Club and my Inner Circle, you will find in the show notes and the description of this episode. And remember, the business is never the problem. The problem is always the mindset of the business owner. I'll catch up with you on next week's episode and I'll meet you at the top. Thank you.